Welcome back, coaches. This is the Football Coaching Podcast. I am Daniel Chamberlain, co-host, here with Joe Daniel, as always.
What's up, Coach?
Well, we're 60% done with our season.
That's 6 games.
It's easy, isn't it, to do percentages when everything's on tens?
Feel sorry for the states that play 9 games.
It's so weird. That's such a weird thing.
I think they all have a guaranteed 10th game. It's just like the regular
Right,
season.
it's the playoffs, though. Like it's. But do they not get a real playoff streak? Because they've all make the playoffs? Like, hey, we're playoffs.
Well, they all,
year in a row.
I don't know how they do it, but when we, for a long time, it's not as clear now, but for a long time, there was a very clear delineation of making the playoffs and making the region playoffs. So it was like your first playoff game. This is back when Virginia had, I want to say 4 games. I want to say that there was a playoff to get into the region playoff, a playoff game to get into the region playoffs. And then there was quarterfinals, semifinals, championship, right? That was it. So you went to region quarters, region semis, and championship. And I guess region 5, I think you went region semi, like the actual technical term was region semi, region final, or something like that, whatever it was. That wouldn't make sense. Championship. Anyway, so I don't know if they do something like that where it's like everyone knows the first one's not. And you have a streak of like making X playoff bracket level. So like, getting out of the now for us now it's like 3 games to get out of the conference, and then by then you're in the top, in the final 4 basically, I think, because there's 4 conferences for each. There's four conferences for each level, and so, or regions or whatever they're called. And so if you get out of that, you're in the final 4. At that point, it's like,
so we have like,
I guess people have a final 4 streak, but we're not one of those teams.
We have 4 districts in each class, but we don't have, like, you win a district championship in regular season, and then you're just in the state tournament. Like,
right,
you don't have regionals.
So okay, so that's kind of what
big enough. I don't.
A lot of people do that, where it's like you get out of district play, and the state. So the state playoff starts at like the final. This is not the way that we do it, but for some, the state playoff starts at the final 16. Like, we don't get to the rest of the state until the final 4. So, but a lot of teams will start with like 32 or 64 teams getting into the playoffs, and then the last 16 are the state, and it gets kind of jumbled or whatever. For us, it's just like, I think going in, you already know that Conference A is going to play Conference C, and Conference B is going to play Conference D, and
by which seed they are. Or
whoever wins the conference goes in. There's no like reshuffling of everything once you get to the state. It's just getting out of the conference or region or whatever.
That's how we do it, I think.
Yeah.
So sweet, man. Real quick, the power minute for this episode you're listening to tonight. We're talking about our tackling being inconsistent, how we're going to fix those issues using umbrella run fits, eliminating missed tackles without beating up your players, and teaching your players to fly to the point of attack. Should be a great episode, especially at this point in the season. Like, you kind of either have good tackling or you don't. So it's a great place to reset as you kind of approach this last half of the season, which, as this comes out, will be the last 2 games for some of us. And some of you guys started in June or whatever, so y'all are probably already in the playoffs. I don't know what y'all are doing. Whatever.
We have like multiple bye weeks at least. That was what we would have. We had teams that would start on -1 week. We have week 1, and then you could play 0 week and get a bye. And then teams started playing like -1 week. And then there were teams playing like -2 week. And they'd have like 2 byes during the season. It was just like they're playing on August 5th. It's like
no practices, just show up, put on helmets.
Well, no, what the benefit of it, and this is again something that I would never want, but the benefit of it, I think, was that you have to have X number of practices before you can play a game. And so if the start date was, say, July 29th, but you managed to somehow schedule something on August 8th, you got to start practice 2 weeks earlier than everyone else. And it was like, if that makes you happy, practicing, having to practicing in Virginia in July, practicing in
It's the
South
4th of
Central Virginia
July. Shoot your
on,
fireworks.
on July 10th and having to sit there and look at the wet bulb and start practice at 9 p.m. If that makes you happy, or you practice it, really, even at 9 p.m., it's still like too humid. It's like the only time that you can be assured of getting out is to practice at 5 a.m. And like that is just not my. Otherwise, not my thing. So that happened here.
Last week we talked about effort fading late in the season. So if you've reached that point now, that's a great one to go back and listen to. Kind of you can just refocus your players, refocus your staff, yourself, your family, all the things that are involved in this big sport of football. Next week we're going to talk about some cover 3 concepts. So a little bit of cover 3. Also another great one, especially as you get back in the playoffs. If you're a high seed, you might not have to show too much in those first weeks, but if you're a low seed, it might be time to simplify and win some big games. Shock the world mentality, I think we called it last week. So
yeah, we're inserting that one, by the way, because I wrote an article on cover 3 and I went to link some podcasts, and we have not done anything on cover 3 since season 13. We had a show with Con.
Jesus.
So
we've let you guys down.
We have done 100, and we only have one before that. That's like specific cover 3 going all the way back. So that was like season 3. So
we let our listeners down for sure, because that.
So we're gonna hit some more not basic concepts. We're gonna hit some things that we're actually gonna focus in that cover 3 on, not just like it's a spot drop cover 3. But we're gonna focus on cleaning up some of the weaknesses of cover 3, how to coach some of the nuances of cover 3. So it will be beneficial if you're a cover 3 team and maybe are getting hit on some things, but also for those of you that are getting ready for next year and ready to start on that. But we just haven't. There's things that we haven't done that we got to fill in some holes.
There we go.
I'm sure Con did a great job, but it was a long time
ago.
For
3 years, he did a great.
It's been over 100 and something episodes. Yeah.
If you've real quick, we already covered last week. If you've ever watched film with a buddy or swapped game plans with a mentor, that's kind of what this podcast is all about. So as Joe said, we're kind of going to go back and hit a cover 3 and give you something to talk about with your other football cohorts. So share the show with someone that you would do something like that with. So if you'd send someone a great play you saw, that's kind of how we want the podcast to be shared out. So please do that. Let's pay the bills and jump in here, Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of stick to what I did last week, which is I've been publishing new articles on JoeDanielFootball.com, just like the podcast. I would love for you to go and check those out, share those. You can go to JoeDanielFootball.com/blog to see everything that is there, or just go to the homepage and you'll see usually the latest ones. The one that just came out, I mentioned that we had the one on cover 3 came out last week, and I don't know if we recorded before or after that one came out, but we had one on cover, kind of basics of cover 3. So if you want a primer for before the next one, go and check that one out. Again, go to JoeDanielFootball.com/blog and you'll see those. Just published one on the complete guide to coaching football drills that win games. And the real heart of that is the 3 reasons behind your drills. It's not going to have like, specifics of these are the drills to run, but the reasons behind your drills, more importantly, the biggest drill mistakes. So three reasons you run a drill, 3 biggest drill mistakes, and then how to choose your drills and even create drills that are going to be effective for your football team. So especially, if you're in the playoffs and you've got that one problem that you're like, I got to fix this, and you're scouring the internet looking for drills and all you can find is dumb stuff, you can probably just make one. And check out that guide, it will help you reduce it down to the one-on-one game and create your drills. So again, just go over to JoeDanielFootball.com/blog.
And I also want to send you Joe Daniel Football to go look at becoming a premium member. The game film analysis, that's something I jumped into last year, is helping Joe do game film analysis, and I'm doing it again this year. And it's been a really neat way to connect with coaches individually. So if you are struggling with anything in football, man, it doesn't matter if it's a scheme question, a personnel question, that game film analysis kind of gives us the opportunity to watch your film and help answer some of those questions. I've had that exact question this year. Hey, here's my film. Yes, I need to know what we need to do schematically, but what about player-wise? Are my guys in the wrong places? Do you see an attribute in one game of film that maybe I should be switching someone else to free safety or outside back or inside back or whatever? I had a guy today, this week, which was 2 weeks ago, who said, hey, dude, just been listening to you a long time on both podcasts. I love it. It's kind of cool for you to break down my film. It could be as simple as that. It's just another way to kind of connect with us here on the show. So go to joedanielfootball.com, sign up, become platinum. Is it platinum level?
Platinum level. Yep.
And get that game film analysis, especially here going into the playoffs. It's a great chance to have like someone else look at film. Now, we're not looking at your opponent's film. There are many, many podcasts on how to break down people, and you can email, and I don't mind helping you do that too. But through the game film analysis, we're there to help you get better with your players. So
yes,
joedanielfootball.com.
So one of the other things to mention is that we'll do that any time of year. So if you decide to join Platinum in December, and the only rule is we do one side of the ball once a week. So if you sign up for Platinum in December, send one film a week for your 10 or 12 games, and in 3 months we will absolutely look at and then if you want to turn around and send the other side of the ball for the next 12 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, you can get every single film watched. We are here, rain or shine. In fact, we don't get a lot of films in the off season, and I'm sure that some of us would like that. I think most of us would actually like to have a little chance to watch a different team and some new film in March that, and get a good look. So anytime you're listening to this podcast, it is available in the off season, or maybe you're already a Platinum client and you just got caught up during the season, and now you'd love to have that season look back at to see what you missed. Send one game a week, one side of the ball. Like I said, if you play 12 games, in the next 24 weeks, you can get every single thing you did look at.
For sure.
We have no problem with it.
Sweet, Joe. Let's jump into it here, man. Part one, we're going to talk about, obviously, episode is about fixing tackling issues. So the first piece has to be, how do we fix those issues with the umbrella run fit?
So we always get the question, and people new to JDFB, if you haven't been new to JDFB, when you sign up for JDFB, you start the roadmap to victory, which is a basically 4-part sequence where we start with a kickoff diagnostic. You fill out a kickoff registration, tell us about your team. We do a kickoff diagnostic to figure out where your team is at right now. Then we do a roadmap, quick start guide of the things we think that can help you based on what you've told us right away. Make that impact right now. Then we set up a call with me one-on-one. We do a 20-minute coach call, Zoom, whatever. We can draw it up, we can practice plan it, we can drill it, whatever. You got that. But it's really more to get into the specifics of your program. And then we have our chalkboard community where you can post questions, you can post just, ideas, whatever, get feedback from our community there. And then we do the Chalk Talk Q&A calls every Monday night during the season, and then once a month during the off season. So that entire process, through that, the first step is the kickoff registration. So we get a lot of coaches who, we say, what's your biggest problem? And how can we help you the most right now? And we'll say we need tackling drills, or we need to fix missed tackles. And I always point out that through our game film analysis, when we work with a team, we'll see bad tackling the first week, the second week. By week 5, middle of the season, we very rarely see teams still with bad tackling. Their athletes did not get any better, and we didn't recommend anything particularly special in the tackling drills area. Do we have a tackling progression? Absolutely. Do I think that it is some piece of magic? Absolutely not. It is, adapted from Pete Carroll Hawk tackling and a few other places, rugby style tackling. It's not brilliant. It's just, it works. It's like everything else. It's simple and it works inside JDFB. What happens is not that we give you some magic tackling circuit or something. What happens is we get our coaches to install and fall in love with and focus on and commit to umbrella run fits, specifically, not just the fact that, okay, we have spill, we have force, we have alley, we have stay in coverage, but specifically that you are building your ASCA, your alignment, stance, key read, and assignment around those umbrella run fits. And what happens is you start putting your players in positions and you start setting their eyes, which moves their feet, to get not one guy to the ball, but 2 or 3 or 4. And so what was happening before was you had one of your guys who's a little smaller, a little slower, a little less athletic. He's your 11th guy on defense. God forbid he's your 12th, 13th, 14th guy on defense, but you've had injuries, and he has now gotten in a position where he's in space and needs to tackle the best player that they have, and you had a missed tackle, and you said, we don't know how to tackle. Nobody has ever solved having a exceptionally lesser athlete in space in a one-on-one 12 by 12 box tackle the best athlete on the field. You've got a kid who's not going to play Division III. They've got a kid who's getting looked at to play Division I if he can just get his grades straight. Okay. By the way, most of the time they don't. There are so many Division I players that you never see play on Saturday. Way, way more than anybody knows, except for coaches. So you get your lesser athlete in space with their greater athlete, and you miss the tackle in space, and you say, well, we can't tackle. No, you can't get that guy in space with that other guy without any other guidance than wrap up and expect anything good to happen. So what we do is we, again, get you to commit to those umbrella run fits, but specifically commit your alignment, commit your stance, commit your key read, which is your drill work in the defensive drill system inside JDFP Premium Coaching Systems. Build all of that around your umbrella run fits, which puts you in a position to get multiple players to the point of attack. And that's really where what we do and what we do different than almost everyone else is we don't come in and say we're going to fix missed tackles with tackling drills. I just don't think that works. We talk about there's 3 reasons for an explosive play, and umbrella run fits fix 2 of them. Problem number 1 is that they ran through a gap and there was nobody there. That's a run fits problem. Everybody knows that's a run fits problem. They go, well, that's a run fits problem. Okay, we didn't fill the gap. Problem number 2 is I had one guy out there in space and he missed the tackle. Problem number 2 is missed tackles. If one guy misses the tackle, it's a missed tackle and it's an explosive play. If one guy misses the tackle, but I have 3 guys getting there, and the one guy who misses the tackle knows his fit, and so he misses the tackle, but from the direction that he knows where his help is, and he misses the tackle, and the guy who avoids the tackle turns himself back into where the help is coming from. Now, it's not just having guys running to the ball. It's having guys running to the ball, taking the correct angles, knowing where my help is. If I'm the force defender, I know I'm attacking the outside hip. And so when he jukes me to the inside, I've made him make that juke move, which is just enough to force a change of direction, get my alley and my spill there to make the tackle. So problem number 2 is missed tackles, where you only have one guy there. Now we have 2, 3, 4 guys there. Do occasionally 3, 4, 5 guys miss the tackle? Yes, because sometimes the guys are really, really special, but not very often. One guy can hold on to a shoelace, and the second guy can get there and hold on to his pinky ring, and then the third guy can get there and, we'll finish the tackle. But that sometimes that's what it takes. Tackling is ugly. It's not pretty. And then the 4th reason for explosive plays is blown coverages. By the way, you may not like it, but you're going to have more blown coverages in pattern match than you are in a base spot drop cover 3. You might give up more passes, but there's less blown coverages for explosive plays. So see you next week. And by the way, I love split field coverage. I'm just saying, don't go out there if you're going to blow the coverages left and right. You better commit to it. So that's it. That's where umbrella run fits is really it's not the umbrella run fits themselves. There's not some magic in the 10 minutes that it takes to install those. The magic is in building the entire defense around those.
First, I have to say, one of my favorite parts you covered, and that is eliminating the one-on-one situation. Not one-on-one tackles. Look, it may still be one guy tackles that one guy, but we have him in a vice, right? We've put him back into a funnel. He's trapped. My alley may be the guy that hits him and gets the solo tackle, but my force turned him in, and my spill is coming screaming times 9 or whatever, right? However many aren't in staying coverage players on the other side of the play. So we've got that. I love that we take away that one-on-one situation where it's my kid versus your kid, and I pray to God he remembers things that we taught him, all the coaching points about tackling, which he won't. All right, and then he ends on the film.
It's laughing stock. We spend a lot of times on the nuances of open field tackling, but it is hard. I mean, it's hard skill.
Stupid hard. Yeah. Very, very hard.
Especially if you're talking, you guys that are coaching like lower levels, it's like, it's just not going to happen. They don't even have the awareness of their body. If they're not now, a lesser guy who's really learned So it's not to say that tackling drills can't help or don't help.
Yeah.
And they're extremely important for teaching the safety. But I can get a senior who's been working my open field drills for years, and he might be a lesser athlete, but know how to use his body and take the footwork and everything. And he might be able to make that open field tackle on a better athlete. But that's not going to happen for a long time.
Yeah. Second thing is what I really like about this umbrella run fit is, and I'm going to say this and immediately have a point in the opposite direction, but I think it ensures that your gap sound kind of regardless of what the other team's scheme is, right? So our umbrella run fits, the key reads are part of it. And so you're going to remain gap sound if they run GT counter and they take 2 gaps from the backside and put them on the front side. Because the way we play ball, nothing changes for us. Our force player is still the force player. Our alley is still the alley. Our spill guys are still spilling, but we've also added hats back to the play side when they went and changed gaps. We have a cutback boot reverse. Gets to my third point here, and that, well, I was going to say about gap sound is you can still screw it up. Listen, if you go out there and run 50 backers and you put 5s and 4 eyes or whatever, you still don't have anybody covering those middle gaps and you're going to get ran through. So that's why I immediately had to say, you still have to be smart about it. But when they use their scheme to start changing where all those gaps are, you remain gap sound as long as you started that way. I also love that it gives everyone a job. And I'm talking about like a single job in the run game. Yes, they're going to have a key read that puts them in pass coverage or in the run game. So they have 2 jobs. But in the run game, they have 1 job. Your backers
Within a second and a
know
half, they know what that job is. Yeah.
I am a freaking spiller.
Right.
At no point should I be boxing. No point should I be trying to turn a play back in. No, I am aimed for his inside hip and I am running him down until he runs into the sideline or my force defender or my alley defender cleans things up. That's it. And so on game night, when we're missing things, I have very simple coaching points to get that kid back locked in, right? So I think that simplifies football. Like I've coached under 5 different coaches now, and probably 3 of them have talked about how stupid the kids are. We have the dumbest kids. One of them specifically stands out, and it was so bad I did not coach with him very long. This makes it doesn't matter how stupid your kids are or how bad you think they are. They can do this. I can give them a job. Hey, you're a spill player. Fill your gap, plays away, run the hill line. You're just running them down until someone turns them back into you, or they make the tackle out there, and that's okay. Yeah, so kids having a single job is a lot better than sometimes you're force, sometimes you're alley, sometimes you're boxing, sometimes you're spilling. No, we don't have all that. Very simple key read gives you 1 job. You do that job very well, and you don't have to worry about other people doing theirs because they have only 1 job. So it's like everything just works in you. I go back to the old Saban, like just do your job, right? I don't have to worry about you getting all mixed up and not knowing what to do. Anyway, so that's why I think the umbrella will help solve a ton of tackling problems because kids don't get confused on what their job is. Let's jump into part 2. How do we eliminate missed tackles without beating up your players?
And that's the other side there, is that a lot of coaches will say, you know, we're not good tacklers, but I can't afford to lose anybody. So we can't tackle in practice. You know, I've only got 22 guys. And so how am I going to fix the tackling problem? Or the other side of that is what we talked about last week, and they decided the way I'm going to fix this tackling problem is just come hell or high water, we're going to kill each other in practice, and
Yeah,
then they lose
Oklahoma
somebody.
drill week 8.
Yeah, they do the Oklahoma drill, whichever version of the Oklahoma drill they are. We just know Oklahoma tackling bad. Whatever it is, whatever you call it, it's bad. It's too soon.
Way too soon.
That's not an important game to you guys, right?
That's why I drink.
Yes.
Joe was referring to the OU Texas game for all you Dutch haters.
Yeah,
right here.
I didn't even think about it. I had thought about you, but I didn't think about it coming into this. But
it's all right. Life goes on.
Yeah, you can't afford to lose players, so you don't want to tackle in practice. So how do we solve this problem? Well, everything that we've just talked about is part of it. Putting the guys in the right positions to get numbers to the ball, getting the right key reads, all of that sort of stuff. So that's number 1, is that we can go out. And in fact, I had a coach ask this question on our Chalk Talk very recently. And he said, you know, I'm looking at our film and we're playing pretty good defense, but almost all of our explosive plays are coming off of bad alignments. which we've talked about over and over and over again. And his question was, we're doing, 90-minute practice plan or whatever. And where do I find that, where should I work those alignment periods? And, we talked about pre-practice, because I can take pre-practice to work on alignments. Your umbrella drill obviously is an opportunity, because one of the things that was getting them was the alignment of the safeties, getting them right. So umbrella drill being an opportunity. Again, once you start implementing the umbrella run fits and the ASCA that we teach into everything, things start to come together. Umbrella run fits, as I was explaining, on that chalk talk, umbrella run fits is an opportunity to work not just run, key read. It's a key read drill, but also we talked about, hey, I'm going to call out cover one, and I want to see, hey, we're gonna play one, and they come out in whatever formation that we're seeing. And so I'll align the formation that I expect to see. So if it's 11 personnel, if it's doubles, we're going to make I can come out in a trips check. I can motion a guy. I can do all of that stuff, and I can see that we adjust and we run our alignment. I can say, hey, we're in cover one this play, and I can see that we're in correct cover one alignment. And the next play, we're in cover three, and we're in quarters or whatever it is, and we're adjusting our alignment correctly. I mentioned also that if corners are involved, his particular coach had one coach running the secondary. So he's got all five. And one of the things you can do there is you can change from cover three to cover one and not just always stay in one thing. Because one of the problems that he was having was when they went to cover three, the kids were still playing it like cover one, right? Yeah. So you get to see, do they understand a zone turn? Do they understand a man turn? And I don't have to run routes, and I don't have to throw balls in the air, and I can get lots of reps, but I'm seeing that my players understand the run fits and how to get there. I will have them rip through blockers. I will work bubble drills and all sorts of stuff out of umbrella run fit, that umbrella drill. And that can be the entire secondary. I've brought the ends and the middle linebackers into that thing as well. And I've had everybody but the D tackles in it before. So, drills like that are completely non-contact. And in fact, we don't even have a football, but we are getting numbers to the ball, and we are focusing on that. So I can do all of these things. Almost all of my drills, guard read drills, in that out drills, tracking the inside hip, tracking the near hip, following the guard pull, so that we, like Daniel talked about, we match numbers when they pull. All of those things are built into what we do, and they are almost entirely non-contact. Then we go to run our tackling progressions, which are not non-contact, but nobody's going to the ground. And I have film of the way that we do that in our tackling masterclass. We can do it with no pads. We can do it with pads, but nobody's going to the ground. I do very limited open field now, because open field is ugly, and probably the closest thing that we get to getting hurt, is messing up open field tackles. But I can do open field and just quick whistle it. I just want to see that you've got the tackle secured, or secured enough that help would be getting there. Yeah. Right. So one of the things that we do in open field tackling is, one of the things we used to do is we would start in a 5x5 box in open field tackling. And then we would, in a 5x5 box, and they would have to make the tackle or get him out before he gets across the line. And so we would do that. And then once we got it down, we would go to a 7x7 or 8x8 box, and then do a 10x10 box, and then do a 12x12 box, and eventually to a big, ginormous 15x15 box if you managed to get there. And what we were making them do in general was tackle the guy to the ground. Well, when we changed the thought process to help is coming, you've just got to know where help is. And we would say, this is the sideline. You are an outside fit player. So one of two things is happening. Either as long as you make him cut back to the inside without, if you force him to change, force a change of direction on him, I'm going to call that a win. And I'm going to blow the whistle. There we go. Open field tackle. Or if that guy keeps trying to run and goes all the way out the other side, that is he's out of bounds. So we blow the whistle, and there's essentially very light contact. Now, a lot of the times they don't make all those moves, and we do make the tackle. But once we see him kind of securing the tackle, so if he grabs cloth, I don't need to see him wrestle the guy to the ground. If he grabs cloth, I know help is coming. So blow the whistle. Let's get out of there before something happens. So again, we can do that light contact. I've done that in the off season and used the whiz technique, which is just, you've got to whiz the hip, you got to tag the hip. And we've done that in the off season, where all we have to do is just make sure that we open field tackle, come to balance, tag the outside hip. We try to work on not crossing our feet over, that kind of stuff. And we can do it with no contact or light contact as well. All of my tackling drills, we go from tackling progression, starting with 2 knees, and we go to 1 knee, 2 feet, or 1 knee, 1 foot. I should say 1 knee. And then we go to 2 feet. So we go 2 knees, 1 knee, 2 feet. I can do all of those on a wrestling mat. What I'm going to spend more of my time on is, I don't have a wrestling mat, by the way, we do it on the grass, but it would be nice to have a wrestling mat because they hate falling on the grass, right? They hate that because it's all itchy and everything. What we spend a lot of our time on, though, is not on that part, but the fact that we understand that if we fit it right, and I also believe that if I can stand on his, if any athlete can get to stand on his toes, he's going to make the tackle. And so we're going to spend a lot of our tackling time not on tackling to the ground, but on approach. So, which is closing that ground, coming to balance, sprinting to what we call the balance point. So we have them stand side by side. This thing I got from Ricky Kuhn years ago. And, we stand side by side, walk 3 natural steps off, right? And they would mark the ground. And we would have them, kill the grass. Zaya was going to die anyway. They would kill the grass and go that, okay, that's your, at the time we called it shimming point. We shimmied about, I use balance now. So I call them, that's their balance point. So remember where that spot is. Okay, make a mark in the dirt. Now go walk 5 more steps. You're going to sprint, and when you get to that balance point, you're going to come to balance. And that is the spot where they have to come to balance, and they learn how far they can go. If they go further than that, they're out of control, and that guy's going to make a miss. If they go too far short of that, they are allowing a lot of hidden yardage. But if they come to balance at that point with the right leverage, that guy's going to have to make a move. You've got a good chance to make the tackle, but you've got help coming. You're tight enough that if he doesn't make a good move, you get him to the ground. He doesn't. If you're out of control, he's going to just make you miss and take off, and you're not going to have actually really impacted the play. Yeah. So there's so many nuances of tackling, and years ago, the way, and I'm sure a lot of coaches still do this, years ago, the way that guys made tackling safe. When I was in high school, I played defensive line, and I was 165 pounds. And our other defensive tackles were, I think, 270 and 330 or something like that. So it was a 3-4 scheme. And the other noses were 260 or whatever. And we went through tackling drills, and we did angle tackling every single day. We also did that thing where you lay on your back and jump up and kill each other. This was 1997. Okay, so it's not my coach's fault. Everybody was stupid. I'm sure there were some smart people in 1997, but we did angle tackling every single day, which was to run into him, to bite the ball and run your feet and drive him into the ground. And I'm going to tell you that that sucked for me. And I hardly ever got anybody else to the ground. And also, by the way, I never tackled anybody above the knees in a game because I was playing nose guard, and I was on the ground just grabbing and hoping. And they were tripping over me, and that's how I got tackles. So tackling drills were kind of a waste of time for me. I never, ever got to do that. And the truth of it is almost nobody will ever get to do that. Very rare that you get that perfect, beautiful tackle. It's a great thing. You're not going to see it very much. Tackling is mostly ugly, and it's mostly gang. It's mostly multiple guys. They are gang tackling. That's the only way it's going to work. So what coaches started doing, I started seeing a lot more of it when I started coaching, because certainly nobody ever did it for me as a player, is they would have the fit where, of course, I saw this on the Sandusky videos. We're not allowed to talk about that, and it's for good reason. But that was the first place that I saw it. Was they would steal the pads from the high jumpers, and they would tackle you. You would stand in front of it, and the guy would just launch into you and tackle you, but you fell. If you were the ball carrier, you fell nice and smooth onto the padded mat. The problem is nobody ever gets to actually launch into a guy standing there. And so what are you actually working? You're kind of working the fit, but I can work the fit from a fit position with I can, as a partner, fall to the ground fairly comfortably and be a good partner, and we can have a nice drill there. And you can do that on a mat. You can do that. You can do that on a wrestling mat all season. So those are all the different ways that we can do it with. I think I got most of the ways that we can do it with basically no contact.
I'm starting to kind of buy in, and I have to say that this is one of those I wish people did at clinics, and what do I see coming in the future? Because I'm not in a position that I get to change this at any school I'm at now, but there are people out there, they're starting to do their DB drills. They're starting to do their O-line, their pass setting drills, all that without a helmet on.
Yes.
Because kids have gotten so bad with their head placement and keeping their eyes up, and because they want to drive the screws of their face mask into everyone. But it's if you can go out and defend a fade ball, a hitch, a slant with no helmet on. So you're going to have to drive through. You can't hit him with your face. So you're more articulate with your hands, with your arm placement, because you can't just blow the kid up, right? Same thing in pass setting. You want to keep a kid's face mask out of the, he keeps trying to hug that D lineman. You need space there. Take his helmet off. Make him pass that without a helmet. I think you could almost do the same thing here. And you mentioned it earlier. You absolutely can run, especially hawk tackling drills without a helmet.
Oh, we can do everything. We can do every single tackling drill that we have with no helmet.
Absolutely. And I think that might be the way forward. Like, as we keep extending games, I know the NFL is at like 17 or 18 or whatever they're at now. Colleges continue adding in more and more weeks. I'm sure that as college adds weeks of playoffs, high schools are going to start thinking, well, my 4-16 deserves to be in the playoffs. And then we might all have guaranteed playoffs. I don't know. But if your numbers are reduced or your season's going to be super long, right? Maybe you're just really freaking good at what you do and you're going to go to 14, 15 games. I'm not so sure that just taking the helmets off during these things isn't the best way to eliminate a lot of this beating up of our players. I still remember my first year in football, and it was week 8, and we ran essentially Oklahoma drill and tore 2 shoulders and 1 tackle. And it was our starting center and our starting wide receiver. Just because we'd sucked at week 7 in tackling. So we decided, no, we're gonna tackle. And we lost those kids for the rest of the year. Maybe it was even early, maybe it was week 5. But point is, like, if you just kind of get away from that old school one-on-one, just throw your bodies into people, take the helmet off, and make kids think, like critically think, how am I going to keep my dome out of this and still secure this tackle? I think that might be the way in almost every football drill, because I can't think of a single football drill that I do that's like, hey, bang your head right here. So if we're not using our head in the drill, then why do you need to protect your head in the drill, right? Just teach your kids to be more cognizant about where is that thing. Now, I know there's some zone kid or guys out there like, listen, coach, O-lineman in the zone scheme, that's what we teach them. 4 points of contact. That is 2 hands and the 2 screws of your face mask at the top, right? Like, I've heard that 1,000 times. Make the read easy for the back. Wherever your head hits, he's going the opposite way or going that way or whatever. You don't have to do it that way, guys.
Don't do that. Why? No, don't do that.
That's the zone teaching I've heard. And I think it probably starts with Alex Gibbs, but I don't know that for sure.
Alex Gibbs was doing this in the 1980s, guys. He's great.
He was great.
He never had to worry about being sued for this stuff.
That's right. That's right.
No.
Anyway,
I can do every drill. Even in the off season, I will do full speed. I've got tons of film of it. I will do full speed. And again, we big surface block, so we're not out here with hands, right? I'm getting chest into him, but it's chest into him. My head is back, and we do it. We do it with a pad most of the time, but it's, you know how those pads are, right, guys? We're not using. If we got big thick pads, that's great, but those little arm shields are always like held together with duct tape, and like but they're in more danger the way that we do, and we are full go. I mean, it is pro wrestling, right? We predetermined winner, but it needs to look real. Okay. When we do those drills in the off season, but quite honestly, they're in much more danger of being cut by the torn leather in those rotted shields than they are in actually bonking head. And if I was really concerned with that, I would put a guardian cap on them or something like that. But I've never needed that. I've never had to do that. So
last part here, Joe, we'll jump in, and then it's a good one. And you kind of got there already when you're talking about your come to balance point, because I think that's a big piece of teaching your players to fly to the point of attack, because you can't just fly to the point of attack, right? You have to have that come to balance. You got to get there, but get there under control. So I think you covered a huge section there just about the approach. I kind of like Ricky's 9-5-9 rule. I think that's another great way to kind of sear that idea of you better all be chasing the ball. I mean, if you're the backside corner of outside zone, maybe you don't quite get there, but I really want that effort too. So I like his 9-5-9 idea, and I'll probably end up stealing that as I continue to climb the coaching ladder. But what are some other ways that we can teach our guys to get to the point of attack and make it more second nature?
959 is a good way is a good indicator. And again, it's 9. If we stop the film where the ball, let's say the ball carrier's knee hits the ground right at the point of the tackle, we stop the film. Ricky would teach 959. We want 9 guys within 5 yards of the ball 90% of the time. And of course, you have those exceptions that are like, a fade ball thrown out of bounds, like that doesn't count, But I always teach it as a passion for the football. You must have a passion for the football. In recent memory, and I'll just also mention in recent memory, I've been in a place where we didn't have a ton of talent. In recent memory, I don't know if they were the 2 best. They were not the 2 best football players I coached.
Right.
But they were probably the 2 biggest impact players. Athletically, not the 2 best football players I coached. Instinctive, sure. Effort, all of those things. But what made them special in a big way was that, they would have 20 tackles in the game, but you would be hard pressed to find 10 plays where they weren't flying into the picture at the end of the play. Even if it was on the far side of the field, they never let up. They had a passion for being a part of things. And that is what you want to instill, whether it is 959, passion for the football. What you want to do is find every opportunity to emphasize this. That means that you want to try to get some film. If we had a great setup, at Amelia, but we never had somebody to film. We had a great setup at Colonial Heights because the practice field is right behind the home stands. And so we could very easily have somebody stand at the top of the home stands and film down. And actually at Prince George, we had a press box that was up over top of the practice field. So everywhere I've been, other than the college that I was at, had absolutely, because I was a high school backlot. I was actually the backlot of an elementary school was most of our practice, and the rest of it was on a rugby field with no stands at all. Everywhere else that I've been, we've had some way to get somebody up high and film the entire, all 22. And what I want to see in that from the defensive standpoint, a lot of times in off season, when you're doing, whatever you're doing is I want to find and catch everybody who pulls up. If you want to, I think it's beneficial to tag loafs. Letting up on the play. Loaf is a lack of effort play. The other way to do it, the way that I always teach you to do it, and we've talked about, is just watch the play and give it a plus or minus for effort. You know who it is, and you can write down the name of the guy who it was if you want to, if they get a minus. But they just know that we are grading effort, and we are an effort team, and that's who we'll be, and that's what we'll do. And the way to get effort on defense is everybody run to the ball. That's the easiest way to get effort. And you want to find every chance you can, because if you're just yelling effort, 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 run to the ball, and you never show them the why, you're not going to get the impact. What you want to show them is the opportunities. You want to show them the time where you let up 5 yards away, and because you thought that the first 3 guys had the tackle made, and then that guy squirted out of the tackle from all 3 of those guys. But if we had a 4th or a 5th, we could have made it. Or you let up, the ball was on the ground, the ball got knocked out on the ground, you were 15 yards away and you figured nothing's going to happen. The ball got knocked out, you would have been there. And instead, the ball's sitting there for 3 seconds and then finally one of their linemen falls on it. So all of the opportunities of, this is a pass example, but the opportunities happen all the time of whether you're in man coverage or zone coverage. Let's say it's zone coverage and the ball goes in the air. I used to get on the kid I was just talking about, who's one of the best effort kids I've ever coached. And I got on him a couple times early in the season when he was playing safety for the first time. And it's like his sophomore year, he was playing like free safety, and a ball was tipped, and he saw the ball thrown to the corner, and the ball was tipped up in the air. Well, he had seen it thrown to the corner, knew he wasn't going to be able to, pick it off in the air or whatever, and watched it. Ball was tipped up in the air. That could have been an interception. There's so many opportunities that by having great effort running to the ball, so flying to the point of attack, there's so many parts of that. I go back to confidence and the fact that kids just don't know sometimes that, like, I need to run to that. The natural thing, especially in the 3rd and 4th quarter when I'm tired, The natural thing is to go, he ran away. This is my chance to hit a little light jog and, you know, not sprint to the
No,
ball.
no one will blame me, right?
No one will blame
It's
me.
way over there. It's outside.
And most of the time, nobody will say anything. Nobody will see it. It will be not noticed. And you have to, as a coach, as a defensive coach, you have to be the one to notice and to bring it up and to harp on it. And you have to train them to chase the play. 7-on-7 is the worst. And I know that we're talking about tackling and run fits and stuff more than anything, but 7-on-7 is the worst because in 7-on-7, the ball goes in the air and we usually don't tackle to the ground in 7-on-7. And you know, the ball goes in the air and it's thrown, everybody stops. And you cannot allow that 7-on-7. You cannot allow that. You have to be an absolute prick coaching 7-on-7. Everybody's going to run to this play. So again, the natural thing is to see the ball go the other way or go away from me and just let up. And what we have to do is we have to make your default. We have to reprogram you. We have to rewire you so that your default is chase ball no matter what. And a big part of that is releasing a lot of the confusion in the kids so that they are already, like, if I'm already sprinting to the ball because that was my key read told me to do that, that's a thing. So like block away is run away. If I'm a backside end and they run a toss and they don't block me, what do? I see toss go away and I take off jogging.
Yeah.
But if I teach you when ball goes away, the block away is run away, and I want you to sprint flat down the line of scrimmage, and I show you all of the times that the forced defender, you know, makes the tackle more than anybody else on an outside run play in our system. Who makes the tackle more than anybody else on an outside run play?
So
it's not the free
technically.
safety.
No,
It's the backside linebacker taking a run through because they don't pick him up, and he takes a run through and goes flat down the line of scrimmage. And when that guy changes direction, the backside linebacker makes a tackle. More than anybody. I mean, I'm sure, you know, I'm sure that the defensive end or the safety makes a tackle more, but like the one that you don't expect is him. And so like that's the opportunity there. Backside linebacker, they ran toss away from you. Like if you're a backside linebacker that goes, well, it went away from me, and you take that path over the top and jog like you're the fence player, you're dead to me. You can't help me. But if you take that shot, and I've shown you where C gap is going to open up, and you're going to hit that C gap, and you're going to fit through, and then nobody's going to block you, and you're going to turn, you're going to go straight down the line of scrimmage, and you're going to hit that dude right in the side of the shoulder pad because it's safer there. Absolutely. And make the tackle.
No ear holes.
Yeah, no ear holes. And make the tackle. Like once you understand that, I get a backside linebacker who is aggressive to the ball. It's just the opportunity. Take every opportunity to emphasize flying to the ball. 959 is a great one. Passion for the football, whatever tool that you use. I've heard different ones. You know, find a way to enforce that and then enforce it. Watch the film your practice, watch the film, see your guys, see them let up, film your practice and get them on scout team. Catch them on scout team doing it wrong. Catch them on kickoff doing it wrong. Catch them. I mean, it's not now celebrate them when they do it right. Holy smokes, backside corner makes a tackle, come flying across the field from a million miles. Like, celebrate it. But also, when they aren't doing it, don't let it slide. Don't ever let it slide.
You're either teaching it or allowing it, right? Coaching it or allowing it. Bringing it back home. No, I just want to say that I think this all goes back to the simplicity of the umbrella run fits. I know it's what we started the episode with, but when kids just get one job, they're going to do that job a lot faster than if they're unsure. If their job changes every play, if there's just so much. If sometimes you're shooting gaps and sometimes you're reading blocks and you're doing all this stuff, you're going to confuse your kids. You're going to slow them down. Same as if you have a whole bunch of coverages. Look, if you're running 4, 5, 6, 10 coverages because you think you're confusing the kid that already can't read defense and you would probably confuse him in a base cover 3, you're going to blow a lot of coverages because kids just don't know where to be. And then they're never going to be the one that raises their hand and be like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Right. So I think the simplicity there just lets those kids play faster, almost like Coach Simple play fast win is a whole thing. And it lets them just,
it's a movement.
You've said it is a movement. You've said it many times, Joe, and that is like those chaotically violent tackles.
You have, by the way, you have commas here. I just noticed this. You have commas on the Coach Simple play fast win for those watching on YouTube.
I do.
We keep it as periods. So you kind of added an extra wrinkle in there. I don't want to confuse anybody with the commas instead of the periods. It
There's
is
a
the same.
contextual pause.
We also usually use 3 periods, and we don't win. We just win. It's got an exclamation point for those on the audio.
There we go. Anyway,
I always write it the exact same. I've never thought about it, and then I just looked at this, and I'm like, that's not. I didn't write that.
for all you that are very confused now, go watch this on YouTube, and you'll see our fancy new background we put together a couple weeks ago, and I screwed it up. Graphic design at its worst. Anyway, simplify your run fit. Simplify what your kids are having to do. And that way it never changes. The coaching points don't change. You know what I mean? It's not 35 if thens. It's you're reading the block. If it's block away, play away, run the hill line. If it's block to you, post hip rip, get your gaps or get your hips in your gap and you win. If it's a pass set, put your single move that you learned and got really good at, not one of your 15 that you're suck at all of them. Your one move, use it and go tackle the quarterback.
By the way, I got this from Rex Ryan, the defensive line stuff. It's not like you are dumbing football down.
All right.
This is from Rex Ryan.
So
You may not
I
like
think
it.
that helps your kids fly to the point of attack because I'm right.
All that.
There's no question about whether I'm right or not. I'm a defensive tackle. It's outside zone away from me. The guy in front of me just ran to the left. I'm just going to run behind him and just stay at his hill line. And I'm right. No matter what else happens in this play, I am right. If it's a freaking double reverse, wasn't my fault. It's not my job. I did my job. So anyway, I think that'll help your kids play faster. I think we've checked all the boxes for tonight, Joe. I want to thank all of you out there for listening. Once again, if you're still here, you probably got something out of this, especially these episodes where we just re-tackled the fundamentals. Tackle, got it. So send it along to someone who's still learning, just like we all are. We are all constantly learning. Tonight, we talked about fixing tackling issues using the umbrella run fits, eliminating missed tackles without breaking your players, and teaching your players to fly the point of attack. Last week, we talked about effort is fading late in the season. Next week, we're going to talk about cover 3, and probably going to be titled something like we're blowing too many coverages or something. We're going to talk about
No.
Just cover 3.
Coaching fundamentals of cover 3 defense.
There we go. Level up. Joe, what is your level up?
I didn't cry, but I wanted to.
Should have cried.
I'm not saying that I did or didn't, but I didn't cry in front of him. My son came in. I'm getting choked up now. I'm getting emotional. My son came home yesterday from school. His mom picked him up from school. And I was here in the office, in JDFB Studios, in the corner lot of my house, a spare bedroom. And he said, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. I said, yeah, buddy. And he said, I want to go to a football game. Yes. We are only weeks removed from when we went to my dad's, his grandfather, for the Georgia-Alabama game. And we had to, well, he was in bed for the Georgia-Alabama game, but we had games on all the Florida State played and everything. My dad went to Florida State, and granddad went to Alabama. My granddad went to Alabama. And so played for Alabama, actually. But he's the last good one. The rest of us are D3. Hopefully the new one's going to bring us back, because the rest of us have been Randolph Macon 2 years and then retirement. So we had to like stick him with the tablet and then the headphones just so we could watch football without having him being, irate. So I think the plan is, assuming that I think the weather's going to be fine, we're probably going to go to one of the local, there's 2 schools that he may, of course, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's the school that we are districted for. And then there's a private school that's right across the street. Both of them have games at home Friday night. So the private school one is a little bit earlier because he ain't going to make it long. I know that. But, I'm pretty excited because he wants to go to a game. He's been to games, obviously, when I was coaching, but we have not been to a game together. So
that's one benefit to you not coaching this year, right? Is you can go to those Friday night games with your son. And because when we get to go, it's always OU games, and it's always loud and ridiculous. Yeah. And there's 83,000 of my best friends are there, and it's just chaos. Yeah. So
he's been to a couple, but like recently he's been to a Flying Squirrels game, baseball game, which is, minor league baseball. We can go up in the top and just be alone and it's not loud or whatever. And he can run around. And the same thing, we went to AEW show in Roanoke for wrestling, and we ended up going up to the top. It was a pretty full house, but the last like 4 rows were empty. So we went up all the way up to the top just so that he could kind of walk around and stuff. And, because he's not going to sit still. But he did not like, all the pyro and stuff with the loud, how
Right.
loud it was there. So, taking him to now I could probably take him to a UVA game, although they're good this year. So maybe not. Maybe I can't take him to a UVA game. Normally I could take him
Do
to a
y'all have the
UVA game.
Spiders?
Huh?
Doesn't Richmond have the Spiders, or is that
We
team
do have the
already-
Spiders. Yeah. We
Okay.
do have the Spiders. I have not been to a Richmond game. God, it's been a long time since I've been to a Richmond game. VCU doesn't have a football team, but now we could go to a Randolph-Macon game. That's probably why when I do have a Saturday, when I have in the past had a Saturday, I would go to a Randolph-Macon game rather than a U of R game. But yeah, we have U of R, we have Randolph-Macon. They're both close by for Saturdays. UVA is only about an hour or 15 minutes, and then William & Mary's not far either. William & Mary's less than an hour.
That is a very special time. Like this,
Virginia State.
I'm just going to kind of
a lot of schools.
piggyback on your story, because we, 2 years ago when I was driving to Owasso every day and I never saw my son, he was, I guess, 5 then. And we were riding in the car one day and said, "Daddy, I wish you'd never became a football coach. I never see you." Like, he hated football because I was gone. It was just the thing that took his dad away all the time.
Right.
And so, like, that was heartbreaking for me to be, one, because of the situation that made me have to drive an hour and a half every freaking day and miss all that time with my kids. But 2, because it's something I love doing. And now I got to pick between 2 things that I absolutely love, and it sucked. This year, the school's further away, so I'm not gone every day. So they enjoy it more. We are Purple Pirates through and through. Like, they talk about wanting purple clothes and like, we're going to watch the Pirates this weekend. Like, they're juiced to go to Bristol Purple Pirates football game, and which I just think is amazing. And the community there's been super cool with the kids. And obviously I'm in a lot better place coaching wise with them than in the past. So it is really neat to watch them turn that corner. Now, my youngest, who turned 4 last Monday, so yesterday, he's kind of always been about it, but he didn't know what was going on when we were living through the Owasso years. So there was never anything to make football bad for him. And also, I think he's going to be like the starting linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers someday. You know what I mean? Like, he's just athletically thinks about sport. Oh yeah, well, they're my new favorite team, so I have to pitch them. No more Cowboys.
When I was a kid, I absolutely hated these uniforms, and now when they wear the throwbacks, I'm like, those are cool. It's like they weren't cool in 1987, but they're awesome now.
Yeah. Maturity, right? You have to mature and realize that color orange is okay.
No, I don't think it's maturity. I think they weren't cool then either. But like something about like our, just society's tastes have changed, and now we're like, that's
for sure. Anyway, so I don't mean to even try to steal your thunder, but that is a very special time for a dad that's a coach, is when their kid finally goes, "Oh yeah, that's the sport," which I think is super cool. Coach Ridd talks about his sons too, right? They hit that point where they were like, actually, one of his favorite memories was when I said, "Dad, I don't want to play football. I'm just doing it for you." And he's like, "Don't play the sport for me. Like, go do what you like." So it can go either way. But my level up is way less cool now, but it's Battlefield 6 dropped on the 10th. And I love it. It's hard. It's been a long time since a first-person shooter online was actually hard. But we're talking like, it's very difficult. Right. And unfortunately, I'm good at those kind of games. So that's why I'm probably addicted to them, because they come easy to me. No, dude, they tuned this up. And the world destruction is back. Someone's in a freaking building shooting, blowing your dudes up. You just launch an RPG into it and destroy the whole building around them. Like the tanks, the flying is still a little weird. It seems different than the last one. I don't know if it's more sensitive or I need to figure it out. But it's pretty freaking legit, man. So it was good to come back. I've been a 2042 guy for the last couple of years. So getting something more actual modern and not futuristic has been awesome. So if you guys are out there and y'all play Battlefield 6, it's all cross-platform now, so it doesn't matter what you play it on. I think my Steam is Sarnt Louis, SarntLouie. And that's a whole story, because I was a sergeant and now I'm a lieutenant. because of that whole commissioning thing. But yeah, that's my Steam tags. You can add me, shoot me a message, whatever. We'll play together. But it's been super cool to get back into like a real good game. I don't know why anybody would ever play Call of Duty anymore. That one's burnt out. There's my really weak level up. You have a great one. I have a weak one.
I have nothing to say on
Get it. What are we
any
doing here?
gameplay. I don't know if I have like. I'm just rolling through old Zelda games.
I'm about to just
I'm
send you a
perfectly
gift
happy
card
with
for
it.
Battlefield. I'm gonna buy it for you on Steam and just make you play it. It's so good. It's so good.
I don't think I'd play it. I'm really into work right now.
Touche. We already paid the bills. No, we didn't. Let's pay the bills one more time. Get out of here, Joe.
No. I mean, again, I'll just recommend go to JoeDanielFootball.com. I've been doing a lot more writing. They are in depth. I'll just tell you that, like, it's not, it's going to be, it might be a couple seats, so a couple seatings. Of course, if you want to sit down and read them, print them out, whatever. But they're, pretty in depth articles that I write. I don't write short stuff right now. They're in depth. So coaching cover 3, which we're going to be talking about. It's really the basics. If you want the basics of cover 3, it's not super basic, but I mean the why behind cover 3, why you would want to run it, that kind of stuff. There's an article on cover 3. You can go to JoeDanielFootball.com/blog, and you can find everything there. Or just go to the website. You'll find it. You'll see the articles button. I've got an article on strengths and weaknesses of the 4-2-5 defense, quick fixes for your 4-2-5 defense, and then the recent one that I just posted is a complete guide to coaching football drills that win games, which goes over the reasons why you run drills and why you would run a drill and the mistakes that we see coaches make and how to build your own drills. So go and check that out. Go to JoeDanielFootball.com and just read up on a few of them and share them along with your other coaching compadres or amigos.
Love it. What cells are opening and closing the next 2 weeks? So this goes out right around November 1st. So, yeah.
You're going to be about a week. So in about a week. Yeah. So in about a week to 10 days, I would say, I think 10 days, we'll have a JDFB weight room deal for everybody who's ready to get strong this off season, who everybody who wasn't strong enough, who wasn't powerful enough, who wasn't explosive enough this season because your off season program was either something that you were making up as you went along, or you were following somebody who really doesn't know that much about football training. Maybe they were just trying to do cool stuff. Maybe they were just adapting a powerlifting program. Or if you had too many injuries this past season because you were doing dumb stuff, whether it was your decision or somebody else's, get JDFB weight room so that you can be powerful, you can be explosive, and you can have fewer injuries so that you can actually have those powerful, explosive guys on the field playing games for you. Very helpful to do that. JDFB weight room will have a deal on that coming here second week in November.
Love it.
Second week in November, I guess.
Social media, I am at Coach Chambo OK on Twitter/X. You can email me at chamberlainfootballconsulting@gmail.com. I've shut the Patreon down for now, so don't go there. And Joe, where are you at, boss?
You can check us out on Facebook.com/JoeDanielFootball. We are posting clips of the podcast on Instagram at JoeDanielFootball, TikTok at JoeDanielFootball. I don't actually go on those. I am going on Facebook now, though, so I do occasionally respond to some comments there as well. I would appreciate the comments. I need somebody to balance out because there's a lot of wannabe coaches on Facebook. So I am on Twitter at FootballInfo. There's a curveball for you. It's the only one that's different. Email Joe at JoeDanielFootball.com and, of course, JoeDanielFootball.com on the interwebs.
I want to shout out real fast, and you guys, probably most of you aren't listening anyway, but I had a coach hit me up a few weeks, 6 weeks ago, I don't know, and he was talking offensive scheme, talking about a head coach situation, and then he messaged me this week, and this is kudos because you better ask if you don't know. That's where I'm going with this, but he said, hey, our head coach got suspended. I'm the head coach for a game or two, whatever it was. How do I make sure that I don't kick off twice? And I was like, where would you find that info? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know.
Oh, first half and second half?
Yeah, that's hard to know. If no one's ever told you, like, that's one of those questions you're like, what? Because, of course, everyone's like, you just defer. If you win, defer. If not, you take the ball. If you screw up and kick the ball because you won, and I want to go play defense first, you screwed the pooch. you are now kicking off for both halves, I would imagine, because the other guy gets the second half choice, and he's probably going to take the ball. So, great question. But beyond the question, it just kudos to that guy for not knowing the answer to something and going, I better contact someone before I screw this up. So, Coach, super glad you reached out, man. I don't put his name out there or anything because someone would judge him on his lack of knowledge or something stupid, but that's not what this is about. This is
You should go listen to, not you.
Me too, probably.
Referee Mike's podcast.
Mike D, the referee, baby.
Mike D, the referee. Go listen to Mike D, the referee's podcast.
Yep.
If I were in that situation, I would binge Mike D, the referee's podcast.
Dude, he does do some good stuff, and it's been fun. I've joined up with him and done probably like 10 episodes over there now or something. It's a lot of fun just going through. We did crazy plays last week. Joe, a kid came off the sidelines to tackle a defender who had an interception going for a pick six. Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But anyway.
Used to be on those Follies films. There's a black and white film, somebody doing that. On the fantastic NFL Films Follies tapes that we used to rent from Blockbuster. Many of you will never know the glory of renting the same NFL Films Football Follies tape repeatedly because you just wanted to watch it again.
Oh, man,
those were so good.
The podcast is at the FBCP on Twitter/X. Excuse my yawn. It's getting late here. If this is your first time listening to the Football Coaching Podcast, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. You can find us on your favorite podcatcher, mainly Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where people do their listening. Been listening for a while. Please leave a review, especially on those two platforms. That's where we need the help spreading the word. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Football Coaching Podcast. And remember, coach simple, period. Play fast, period. Win, exclamation point.
No, period.
Period.